New Garnier Men Acno Fight Gentle Cleanser. ये है gentle on skin, tough on pimples.
Sanju Samson's night of nights, his finest hour as an India cricketer. Remember all that time spent wondering about your place in the team, of opportunities given and lost, and boy was born on 11/11, debuted in T20 international cricket 11 years ago, never a guarantee in the playing 11. Come a virtual quarter final, 97 not out to take India through to the semi-finals of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup as the West Indies bow out. This show will have a lot of Sanju Samson on it. It's ESPN Cricket for Timeout, powered by Garnier Men. India prevail. Weight of the world lifted of Surya Kumar Yadav and Gautam Gambhir's shoulders as they march to Mumbai for the semi-finals. We've got the company of Anil, Kumble and Faf du Plessis, who did anticipate at half-time that it might not be easy, but India should prevail. Sanju Samson, dare I say, Anil, has made it look easy. It was an innings of unbelievable control. It almost felt inevitable that, yeah, once Sanju got into some sort of zone, he's taking India home.
Yeah, it was absolutely under control. He didn't look like he was forcing things. It didn't seem like that way at all. I mean, you know, in terms of his composure, in terms of his application, in terms of his shot selection, was absolutely outstanding. You know, throughout the innings, I don't think the rest of the batters, I thought they were looking to hit in the air, hit those sixes, whereas Sanju just looked to time the ball, and whenever it was there to be hit, he sort of took advantage of that. But in total control, it never looked like he had to force things. Even when India needed 10 runs and over, he was under control. He just took those singles and then said, okay, I'll wait for the ball. I can hit boundaries at any time. Probably the confidence just coming from the first sort of power play innings literally took him through, and it was nice to see him till the end, remaining not out and ensuring India crossed the line.
Is it fair to say, Faf, the kind of control we saw is from a player who's almost secure as a seasoned international, someone who's done this 100 times before at higher stages? You know the conversations around Samson. It's remarkable that he played like perhaps one of the players at the peak of his powers, when we know these recent few months have been anything but certain or secure for Sanju Samson.
Yeah, and there was a real calmness about him. You could see on his face throughout the whole innings. We speak about control. You know, when a batter looks in control, but just it was like the game was just slowed down to his pace. He never felt like he was rushed. Never felt like he was under pressure. No franticness. Just in total in control. It was like he knew exactly what the bowlers was going to do. He knew exactly when to pull the trigger for the boundary. It was like a jog for one in between.
Yeah.
It was complete control of absolutely everything. So it was a masterclass in how to chase.
One big criticism of Samson has been, say, shot selection after he gets a few lovely sixes or fours away, or certain arguments about high pace, which, say, Shamar Joseph has. What was different about Samson's innings tonight? What did he put away that all those previous demons or criticisms just never came anywhere near this innings?
In terms of his approach, I thought, even in the power play, we've seen him, especially against the faster bowlers, trying to take them on early in the innings, which he never did. He was looking to only wait for the ball to come to him and then use the pace early on, and then whenever it was pitched up, he was only looking to go over the infield. And even when Shamar Joseph came and bowled, I mean, he was probably, he's the one who was the quickest of the lot. He was looking to hit him straight, not necessarily looking to play the square shots, or for that matter, trying to force things. Today what we saw, Sanju was mostly looking to play with a straight bat, and that's one of the reasons why I thought even the cut shots, when it eventually came, it was to almost hit on the ground rather than go over top. And so it was totally risk-free in terms of, it never felt like he was under any risk there in terms of getting out.
Yeah, your point of the sort of safe shots, he played 12 fours. I think no other batter came anywhere close to those many fours. So he had 4 sixes. It's good lofter, we've seen him do that. But 12 fours, we were critical in the West Indies innings. Perhaps sometimes they were only looking for sixes. But this 12 fours tells you a story, doesn't it?
Yeah, when you analyze the innings like that, you talk about the way that you just react to the ball. And it's like a cricket shots. It's not overhitting at any stage. You didn't see him swiping at balls, trying to muscle it. So his whole night, it was clear what he was going to do. He was just reacting, and it was just good extension of a good cricket shot. And they had no answers. West Indies threw everything at them, but he was just too good.
Yeah, I mean, it almost takes me back with this kind of hitting force playing field to the Kohli Australia innings in 2016. It was a different time of the T20 game, and we remember that, but there were no answers. It didn't look at any point like the West Indies could throw something at Samson that he would not find an answer to. Fair to say?
Yeah, 100, and it's a good comparison because we're talking about the chase king, right? And how he plays the chase situation. It's a very, very similar template. It's the hit the ball for fours, hit the gaps, good cricket shots. So it's like almost like an old school approach to T20 batting, but at the highest level.
Yeah. What it also did, I guess, Anil, Abhishek Sharma was very cautious. He was nervous. There were nerves. You can understand that now. 2 drop catches, 10 of 10. Samson took down Akil Hussain. One of his strengths has been his ability to take down spin. As spin troubled India through this tournament, India reacted, and we were worried whether that reaction would upset their template. It seemed like Samson didn't forget the original job description. There was a decisive call to get India's chase underway to take down Akil.
And the other possible interesting point that it will be interesting to see what Faf thinks about it is also the positive move of Sanju Samson, because earlier when he was in the team, it was mostly saying he's not scoring runs, what's going to happen, is he going to get dropped? Suddenly the focus was on Abhishek Sharma, who's a left-hander, who was struggling with off-spin, and then suddenly the talk was we should get Sanju back in, because a right-left combination at the top will help India. He did his job against Zimbabwe, although it was a quick start. India got off to a good start, 40 in 3.5 overs. So even today, the focus was not necessarily on Sanju. I'm sure even from the West Indies perspective, they probably would have said, okay, 2 left-handers, how do we get Abhishek Sharma out, because he's the danger guy. But Sanju just went about his job. We've seen that in the IPL, how he does that. For Rajasthan for a long period of time. I mean, we know the talent. I mean, nobody is sort of doubting Sanju's talent at all in terms of the way he bats, the way he controls the game. We saw that today. We saw that with spin. He plays mostly of the back foot, and whenever someone tosses it up, he's ready. And he knows, I mean, the Calcutta ground at the Eden Gardens, you know that you get value for your shots. You don't need to really hit those massive sixes. You just need to time it, and he just used the pace of the bowlers to good effect.
Would you like to jump in on that, on the possible mindset of a player who's, Anil's dead spot on. I mean, you follow enough of Indian cricket, but to spell it out, he's always a player we're looking at, if his returns are even slightly middling, we try and think, all right, we can do better than Samson. That's been the direction of the team. This is different. This is where you're looking at Samson as the solution to problems, not Samson as a problem.
Yes, so the noise is towards not him. Right, the noise was towards Abhishek and his pressure and his lack of form. Whereas if the opening partner was doing well, then the noise is back on the new guy coming in and with the expectation of him. So you're right, he's definitely really gone under the radar and made it like he's played the whole World Cup. And everyone's like, why was he not there in the first place when you look at back of it now? But just what, and also what really nice to see from him is it looked like right throughout his innings, he wasn't showing any emotion until the job was done.
Yes.
And you can see the 50 celebration. Everything was very low key because his job was to get the team across the line, and he didn't stop thinking like that until that last ball.
Yeah, which is very unlike what Samson himself has spoken of his role in the team, and what Surya has said previously about Samson. I think Gambhir also has said about Samson. He remarked his guard at 50, I think. Normally Samson's, all right, get us to a nice blazing start, and then go for it entirely. You're not looking at Samson and saying you're the guy to see us through. But what does that shift tell you today?
No, I think today, at least what I saw of those 20 overs was that India was in total control. They were looking to get those 10 runs and over. There was, I think, one moment when Surya got out, and then Tilak came in and then really took the game on.
Yes.
Because at that point in time, if Tilak had possibly got stuck, maybe Sanju would have had to do something. That partnership between Tilak and Sanju certainly helped India get the momentum. And post that, even when Hardik wasn't really hitting the way you expect Hardik to continue from where Tilak had left off, they were still getting those 10 runs in the over. So once you keep getting that, then the pressure is no longer there. And I think India was sort of comfortable saying, it doesn't really matter, even if you go to the last over, if we require 10 runs, we'll be able to get it.
Yeah, bar the first 2 wickets, It just felt like India was never under real pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like Samson took it upon himself.
Yeah.
So it
do
was
this.
really good batting unit performance, because the key for the guy coming in a chase like this is intensity and intent. You want him to come in and go 4-4 or 4-2 and not dot, so the pressure builds and you feel as a bowling opposition you're getting a sniff back into the game.
Yeah.
From the West Indies point of view, I just sat there and I was like, these guys, how? Well, they didn't look like going to get a wicket. It just looked like they were in such control.
Yeah, where it's also remarkable is all those guys who came in, none of them actually outstruck him. Normally you think that Dasher will come in and get that 200 strike rate, and the anchor, if we can call him that, can go about his way. Samson's finished the strike rate 194. Tilak had a 180 strike rate, Hardik Pandya 121. So even when there were the odd boundaries, like Samson was very much the control of this chase, which is quite tremendous. Before we move on to the other players and other points, something funny about, or at least interesting about Samson's setup or trigger movement. I mean, both of you can weigh in. Can I try and do a mimic? Can you see my feet when he goes? He goes. Can we get rid of that lower third? There we go. He does something like, there's no way I'm doing it right.
Yeah,
against the spinners, and boom. So what is that? I don't know if it's before, and I haven't seen it before.
I haven't seen it before either, but you guys watch him much more clearly than I do. But it's like almost like what we spoke about yesterday with Adam Markram. Adam Markram does it with his hands. So it's just letting your body know, like, I'm just getting ready. It's like I'm coming for you. It's like it's ready to pounce on you almost. So I think it's something like that, just getting ready to.
Yeah, it's also probably, I'm just guessing here, probably to get the length, because he plays the short ball really well. He picks the length really well. Maybe the foot movement will probably help him get slightly earlier, get into position.
Yeah,
for
it's
that
almost
shot.
like, if I have to explain it, I would say reminding my feet to be quick.
Yeah, not be
So it's
on
like,
your heels.
I want to be, feet, I want you to move, I want you to be sharp, I want you to be like this. And you saw that over against the spin. It was toes off, wiggling, and then move back quickly into position 6.
Yeah, that was the sort of fast feet, if I can call them that. It's warm up, isn't it?
Yes,
Sometimes
yes,
fast feet just to
yes.
get the body going. Against spin, against pace also there was some movement. Sometimes he was either backing away. That I think we've
That's
seen
normal.
a little
Yeah,
more
yeah,
of.
I've seen that.
Yeah, we've seen that. But anything unusual, anything that he was consciously trying to do, perhaps to not repeat mistakes that have perhaps happened in the past? Is there anything else that you picked up?
Nothing else.
No. I think to the faster bowler, he was showing a full face, I think.
And just as what this trigger movement does in general for a batter, what it helps him with, just picking up length, moving.
Yeah, it's new, so I mean, that's what I would guess it is. It's like, it's just a fast twitch.
It's worked, so it's great. When it works, it's amazing. So let's hope it carries on for Sanju Samson. No problem with his place in the team now for a little while at least.
Sure.
At least not for the next game.
Sure.
One would think. Let's look at other aspects of this innings. I mean, it's fair enough dominated by one man, because that's what the scorecard also suggests. But you would still say that this seemed like a fairly controlled effort by India. Where does that take us first? Does that take us that the West Indies bowling should have made more of this, or could there have been more teeth in the West Indies bowling that were missing, or does it take us to the first innings that the West Indies needed 220 if they were to challenge India?
Yeah, so I think for me it's very simple. When we look at West Indies, we spoke about a little bit lacking in the bowling department. So if you as a team know that's where you are slightly off, and we're talking now at the highest level, right? So it's not, they're not a bad bowling attack. It's just you're comparing the attack to India. So when your strength lies in your batting, you know that you're going to have to outbat the opposition. So therefore, when you're in a position when you can pull the trigger on making sure you push that score a little bit more, you have to. It's just almost like a non-negotiable in order to be a team that wins the World Cup for them. They have to score 220, 230 so that their bowling, as we spoke about it, so the bowling adds more pressure.
Yeah.
So if they just get a score that's a good score, it's always going to be tight. So their thing is with their batting is, yes, we batted well today, but in order for us to win the World Cup or beat India, we have to win those small moments a little bit better in that 35 or 35 innings, or
the captain's innings.
the way that they batted from 6 to 9 when there was a little bit of strike rotation, because there the foundation was done. So once again, they batted well, but in order to beat India, you have to do a little bit more.
I'm going to come to more detailed analysis of the captain's knock himself, that man there, Shea Hope, and he's been a fine player. He's actually had some terrific innings this World Cup tonight. That scorecard tells a pretty strong picture about where the West Indies fate lies. Before that, I want to just bring up Sanju Samson's words. He says, "This knock means the whole world to me. Right from the day I started playing, started dreaming of playing for the country, this is the knock I was waiting for. I had a very special journey, lots of ups and downs, kept doubting myself, thinking, will I make it? But I'm thankful to the Almighty for blessing me today." On his approach, he says, I've been playing this format for many years, learned a lot from the greats like Kohli, Rohit Sharma and MS Dhoni, helped with my experience. I've noticed how the greats play and seeing how they change their game according to situations. Last game we were batting first, so I was going from ball 1, but this game it was different. Every time I tried to go too high, we were losing wickets. Didn't think I would play this special knock, but yeah, this is one of the greatest days of my life. Just stayed in the present, played the ball on the merit. I think there's a lot of fair reflection, honest emotion from a player that, you know the Samson story as well as anybody.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see that. I mean, it's not just a young player coming in and dominating in Indian cricket, but it's also someone who's been around for a while, has been in and out. We've all known the talent of Sanju Samson right from the time that he first came in on the scene. He had plenty of time to fast bowlers. The way he makes it, when he hits the ball, it makes it look so easy. So that kind of an innings, it's nice that he's got an opportunity and he's made it count, and he's taken his team to the semi-finals. So it's just, I know it's just the first of many. Hopefully that's what India will be hoping for, but Sanju's, it's nice that Sanju's come back into form.
Yeah, and you know how the Indian cricket story tends to work for batters especially. Once they go past 30, 31 now, Samson, then this is a team that's seeing Jaiswal and Gill and all these guys out. They've in fact tried on a template without Samson opening and with Gill at the top. So this is monumental. This could perhaps be in some ways the restart or the start of Samson's career. Fair to say, this kind of night or innings.
And I've always just been a fan of him at the top. Look, I know it's difficult to, you play where you get an opportunity within a team. You don't get to choose. But if you take his IPL career, the amount of times he's done this for Rajasthan, score 100, score 90, score 80s, be man of the match, play those big innings. He's done it so many times. When he's talking about his experience there. That's that experience that he's been in that situation so many times. He understands that tempo really well. So that's spot on with his words.
Yeah, and Indian cricket, we all know how Indian cricket works. You need that innings of note, the ones that you can recall like that. This is as good as it gets. Virtual quarter-final, team's tournament on the line, decent score, more than decent score to get, and the rest of the batting not quite firing. So well done, Samson. This is very much your night. There's a lot of Sanju Samson fans that are up, as you can imagine, on Sunday night. I'll try and take some comments and questions a little bit later, but let's unpack the rest of the game. And we were just talking about the West Indies batting effort. Now Hope's 32 of 33. It looks even more damning, doesn't it, Anil Faf, when Shepherd's left in the tank.
Yes.
So if they have to replay that game, it's very hard and it's easy in hindsight, but there was a genuine case there of saying it wasn't one of those innings where you were trying to go and not hitting it. There was a conscious effort almost to not lose wickets. Did you sense that?
Yeah, especially when you know that your bowling is not your greatest strength, and you've sort of packed your team with literally everyone who can bat till number 11, so to speak. So I've always believed that in a T20 format, you need to use your resources if you're batting first.
Yeah.
Irrespective of who's in your batting lineup, you need to use. You're better off scoring 196 for 9 than being 195 for 4. You're better off that. So even if it's just that one run, because I felt that, like Faf mentioned, okay, I understand that the power play didn't go the skipper's way. He was struggling a bit, but the team score was going at a fast pace.
Yeah.
Beyond that, once you know that you have 10 wickets in hand after the power play, only 14 overs, and some serious hitting power still in your dugout, you need to go harder. And even if you lose a couple of wickets, India wouldn't have been happy, or if you look at the bowling scorecard, Bumrah went for almost 40 runs.
Yes.
Then Varun Chakravarti went for 40 runs. So you've got 80 runs from the two best bowlers that you probably
Sure.
would be thinking before the match saying,
If
you
you
know,
can do that,
yeah, and
you've got a big
yes,
score.
they didn't get too many wickets. Varun got 1 and Bumrah got
Two.
so that's 3. So you've lost 3 wickets for 80 runs, so that's really good.
good.
The other 3 bowlers, if you don't make the 6th bowler bowl, or even if you don't get after the other 3, like possibly you could have with the kind of firepower. Yeah, possibly they'll feel maybe 10 runs, 15 runs short.
Especially because you know also the stats is also saying to you chasing ground, possible do, so all the factors are against you, so you can't just try to get a pass score. You have to aim for the stars to go. We have to push here more, even at the risk of losing wickets. We have to have the intent to go big, otherwise we might as well, if you're playing it safe basically, then they played it safe there for 2 or 3 overs. I think as a Gaurav talks about the intent meter. What does he call it?
Attacking intent percentage or
Where
something.
where they measure
Yeah.
like your intent
Yeah.
versus, so there's a period there where the intent meter should have just been a little bit more.
And also, see, we don't know how much dew there is. I mean, they obviously are on the field. If there was no dew, I think 195 was a good score for
Yes.
them to sort of look to defend. If there is dew, then maybe you need that 10, 15 extra.
Sure. I quickly opened the 2016 semi-final scorecard. It almost seems like deja vu, but reversed, because the way India finished that game at 192 for 3 or something like that. Yeah, 192 for 2, and this is 195 for 4. That's the damning part for the West Indies. They're 194 for 5 for 9, as you rightly said. Then you feel like you've used your resources, and in the end, it came down to the chasing team having the advantage. So just funny how these things work. Therefore, how big a role did the toss play today?
I think pretty big.
Yeah, pretty big, yeah.
Because you did sense the first 5-6 overs, while we are critical of the Hope innings now,
Yeah.
it was not anywhere near as hard as the game went deeper.
I think if you compare, and Anil spoke about it halfway, if you compare the first innings, the way the ball was just stopping a little bit, that's the difference that dew makes. It takes that slight bit of inconsistent bounce out of the wicket, and the ball just comes on a little bit easier. And if you look in the second innings, the way the ball was consistently coming onto the bat and how quickly it was going to the boundary, not with force, just with good timing cricket. So that tells you it's a really good wicket, and you can just trust it and play through the line.
Yeah, I'd like to at this point just bring up Shea Hope, the West Indies captain, speaking, saying maybe we were a few short in the total, especially here on a chasing ground. We probably could have got a bit more at the back end.
And that's at 1 over.
Yeah.
Remember we
Arshdeep
spoke
Singh.
about that 1 over in the context. Look, I still think even if they get 10 more there, they're still 10 short.
Yeah.
But that over in the context of the game is credit to him, the bowler.
Arshdeep,
The way that he executed there, to go for 5 on a small ground like that, that is match winning over.
Yeah, I mean, that won't scream on the scorecard. But that's the difference between 195 and possibly 218, 219.
Yeah,
which you never know.
if you're sitting in the dressing room and you do the little accolades, you know, that over like that is where a coach or a captain goes, that over right there, here's your little medal or your little trophy. Our player of the day is you because of that over, because it's such an important over in the context, but people don't always realize how important a small contribution like that is in the big picture.
And he came at the back of a 24-run over previously, so Arshdeep's own confidence would have been, tested at that point. Went to a different plan, or a wide Yorkers sort of plan with some slow balls as well. So I'm guessing credit to Arshdeep in that over, when you know that they've actually played Bumrah and Varun well. So these guys have got to ensure then that they put in their shift.
Yes, I mean, Arshdeep's, that over was crucial, because having gone for 24 runs and then sticking to his plan of saying, okay, I'm going to go wide, Yorkers. Maybe that's where West Indies could have been smarter. Instead of looking to pump him down the ground for a 6, just use the pace, use the ground as well, which they didn't. So it worked in his favour. That possibly over changed. I mean, even another 5, 8, 10 runs, who knows?
Never know. It went to the last over, as it turns out.
And you saw Sanju Samson played like that.
Yes.
He, he
he just
the
used
blade,
the pace.
use the pace. You trust the pace of the outfield, that you could just, if you get bat on it, it's 4.
Yeah.
Arshdeep has done this so often in a way. He may not be number 1 on the bowling impact chart or on the player of the match lists, but even the World Cup final in 24, he often bowls the perfect penultimate over or the pre-over to a Bumrah. And this is where I guess we go back to the overall what is the difference in the two sides? They're both great six hitters, they're both power hitters. India played a much smarter game knowing a target. But what the Indian bowlers had is that what the West Indies bowlers were missing. Someone with exactly that little more teeth or bite to bowl an economical over which builds pressure, to get a
100%.
wicket
Yeah.
when there is.
100%. And that's the challenge that they had, West Indies. They knew that they came here with a very strong batting lineup, but they knew we're going to have to be smart, we're going to have to be tactically brilliant, we're going to have to tick a lot of boxes in order to get wickets. And if you compare that to India, it's almost unfair that you don't have, even like as a captain, look at the resources they have. Look at they've got Bumrah, they can bowl Bumrah whenever they want, and he gets a wicket almost every single time he gets the ball on his hand. So as a captain, when you have an ace up in your sleeve like that, where you can just go, oh, it's time for a wicket, or it's time for a bit of pressure, you come on, you bowl. And with West Indies, it's tough. They don't have that one guy that can come on. They need a wicket to grip a little bit. And that's why they're so successful in the earlier stages on the slow wickets, because then your Akil Hussains and your Motis and your Roston Chase, then they become really proper difficult bowlers, because that's the conditions in the Caribbean.
Could he have done anything more with the resources he had, even considering the slight disadvantage of bowling second? But we didn't see Akil come back. We didn't see Chase bowl in the power play, or at least early on to the left-handers.
Maybe that was the first one. I mean, we probably spoke about it, saying that he'll probably get ready in the bus itself. Probably only he got ready to bat in the bus, not necessarily to bowl.
But the other way around.
Yeah, I know. No, we expected certainly Chase to open the bowling with left-hander being there, especially to Abhishek Sharma. But yeah, that was one. But I was surprised because we spoke about this in the pre-show as well. I mean, in the preview, saying that if West Indies have to challenge India, if they can target one of the bowlers and get the sixth bowler on, they had a good, comfortable sort of foundation to do that, especially when you have got 80 runs of your two best bowlers. So yes, that's probably one of the reasons.
Almost got a sense that there was an actual game plan around that from there. It doesn't look like when Pandya came on to bowl, like which bowler are we targeting today to try and bring a six bowler in. So it didn't look like there was that one guy that was like, okay, right, we've got a boundary, this is the over where we try and get 26 and put the pressure back on them so that they think about that six bowler.
To be fair, like, it almost goes back to Pandya has also played his part. The timing of Rutherford's wicket, the fact that he could get out of 4 overs with 1 for 40. Every time the West Indies would have thought this is the 20-run over, they had to delay it by almost an over. Okay, we've got to build again.
And am I right in saying that is what Hardik's known for? He is a guy that's got a bit of a golden arm. He comes on and he gets those wickets for the team sometimes. So that's the value of him. He's an unbelievable all-rounder, and he got probably one of the 2 best players in the opposition, the most dangerous batters out, the most informed batters in Rutherford there, because he's the type of guy that won't knock it for one. He's the type of guy that will go for the over of 30.
So much that we've actually, it almost still feels like India had played this game with some nerves, as you can imagine. They didn't dominate this game. Like if they were perhaps better positioned in the Super 8s, we might have seen all those things that we spoke of at the mid-time show, Bumrah bowling to Hetmeyer straight away, or maybe a little more fluency from the rest of the batters. What do you think this result, Anil, does for India? Does that make them 10 times more dangerous in the semi-final? Are there still things that, you'd say, okay, no, this team is not really still firing on all cylinders?
No, the fielding certainly. Fielding is something that we saw. I mean, the nerves were there, dropped catches, missed fields. You don't expect that.
And that's the whole tournament, isn't it, so far? There's been a lot of drop catches.
So you can't afford that. In a come semi-final, you can't afford that against England. So India would be happy. Nerves certainly, because this was a must-win game, and then 195 is not easy to chase down. Yes, irrespective of the bowling attack, irrespective of the conditions. And someone who possibly India thought would be somebody else winning you the game, but Sanju has gone and done that. Maybe Surya is what you were thinking of, maybe Hardik you were thinking of, maybe Abhishek Sharma or Ishan Kishan to give you the kind of starts that they have done in the past, but it was Sanju. So it certainly gives the confidence to the rest of the batters that now Sanju can play a similar kind of a role we'll go there and then just have a blast. I mean, that kind of approach will certainly bring back the kind of dominance or the kind of intimidation that these batters can put on the opposition bowlers.
Faf, anything to add before I go to our viewer
No,
comments?
That's good.
All right, excellent. Let's take some of your comments and questions as well, please. Wonderful game. Felt like the tension of a knockout of a World Cup. Herstorm says, Hope missed the opportunity to score at a higher strike rate in his innings. Could have used Chase more. There's another one, I think, on whether they could have used more of Akil Hussain or Gudakesh Moti. It looked like India had all the answers to seam.
Yeah, they tried. Look, they you could see tactically their plan was Akil was going to bowl with a new ball and Moti was going to bowl in the middle, as we expected. That was their roles. But it's almost like because the ball was just skidding on, there wasn't much in it for the spinners. They didn't look very threatening. So when you compare it when Axar was bowling in the first innings, a little bit of stoppiness on the wicket. So it just looked, I think the judgment out there was, it's not really something in it for the spinners, so let's try a seamer. But they never at one stage was there anything really for anyone that looked like there was nothing in it.
What else do we have? Lots of questions on Abhishek Sharma, including whether India can ask it. Abhishek Kumar is saying, is it the time to drop Abhishek Sharma out of the semi-final?
No, not before a semi-final.
What's
Definitely
missing,
not.
Anil? What's missing, Faf, for Abhishek?
I think it's just, I think the head is a bit muddled.
Confidence? Is it just lack of
Confidence, yeah.
Yeah.
It affects
Confidence
anyone.
and form. That's
Yeah.
Butler. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Butler, seasoned international, has many reference points of doing this at the
The
highest
same
level.
thing,
Abhishek first
the
World
same
Cup.
thing applies to the brain. The
Yeah.
brain still goes, I'm out of form, I'm under pressure, I'm not hitting the ball well. It's that clarity, if you look at the decision making around Samson versus that, it's just, I'm watching the ball and I'm reacting till the last second the ball is here and I'm just reacting. Whereas if you're out of form, you're thinking about hitting the ball, you're thinking where am I going to score a run. You in the past, you in the future, whereas Sanju was just talking, they're in the present and just reacting.
Do you sense from what you saw in the Zimbabwe game as well as this one here, where there is a conscious effort now to do everything that has not made him Abhishek Sharma, which is step out and give the bowlers the charge no matter what spin pace, but now it's let's play it on the ground, and suddenly it's not like he's still 10 of 11 or 10 of 10. So you start, someone's probably told him, look, take a little bit of time, but you sense almost now that that advice might be counterintuitive.
Look, the nice thing for him is that they won.
Yes.
So when you're winning, the guy that's out of form in your team gets carried by the team. If you lose, there is finger pointing and there's a guy that needs to take the brunt of the loss, right? So there's always one or two guys in the team that are under pressure, or a coach or a captain. So if India would have lost tonight, there would have been a lot of finger pointing at him and his failure in his campaign. And now it's like people are talking about it, but India won. India is through to the semi-final. So now there's a hopeful, can he do it in the semi-final? Optimism, can he turn it around? Can we see an innings of him? Can he have one knock in the next two games? That is the way that he plays. So it's optimism because they are winning.
And he certainly had partners that are taking pressure off him. Ishan earlier in the tournament, now Samson. So that's hardly an excuse.
Yeah, that's what you call a team for. You know? So you want others to take the pressure off, and India has done well, like Faf mentioned. You know, now that they've won, he'll say, okay, now I need to start contributing. I'm sure England will pose a different challenge. They also have Jacks, so I don't see Harry Brook holding back Jacks. He's bowled in the power play for them.
Well.
So he bowls well. He's slow, looks to turn the ball. So at the Wankhede, I'm sure you'll see Jacks. So you just have to get going.
I also heard Sky talk about that. He said he's been carrying us for a while. Now it's our turn to carry him. Is that the right quote?
Yeah, yes. Sky says.
Yeah,
things.
so whatever he said, that's the point is that it's now the team is carrying him because they're winning. But if they were losing, we would be talking a lot about him.
Yeah, if they were losing, I'd first talk about Sky. I'll save Abhishek. It's an interesting one for the Indian captain, 18 of 16 tonight. But it just feels like tonight is about the one guy who kept the rest of the innings together. So I don't think we can we read anything excessive into 18 of 16 Surya. There are some questions even on Hardik. Why is he not sort of finding the same fluency in hitting? 17 of 14 tonight. But it just seemed like everyone's job was...
No, because like I said, it's the partnership.
Yeah.
So every partnership came in and was successful in a small way. So what I mean by that is they didn't go bang bang.
Yeah.
So in a template like that, 17 of 14 is because he was getting the strike over to Sanju, and Sanju was creaming it all over the place.
Yeah, quick mention, I think the only player left really is Tilak. Tilak's little 27-15, you did bring it up.
Yeah.
But as an entry point of number of over 11, at the back of also batting first against Zimbabwe, this is a sudden shift for Tilak as well, who's normally a top 3 or top 4 player. He's doing well.
Yeah, he's doing well. He's doing well. Yeah, I mean, I still feel a Hardik should come earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think today his contribution was really important at that stage.
I think we've covered Bumrah's brilliance on Amit Show. Those are the little things that they managed to play him well in the last over or so, but otherwise Bumrah had decisive impact. Shimron Hetmeyer might still go to bed tonight saying, I don't think I nicked that, but one of those
50-50, I'm not sure, so you got to go with the umpire on that one.
I mean, once you see the ultra edge with such a big spike, although everyone goes like, no, how can that, there's some daylight there.
Yeah.
Can't do much. All right, we leave it over there. The West Indies bow out. It was a campaign that threatened, that had its moments, that was very entertaining. Is it safe to say all they need is maybe 1 or 2 really X-factor bowlers?
Yes.
There's plenty of 6-hitters, as we know. They could be a force to reckon with come the next World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, they've always had the power. That's what is needed in a T20.
Yeah, I think then they can walk away proudly from this. I feel like they achieved...
Exceeded expectations.
Exactly, they exceeded their expectations. They played really well throughout the knockout stages. They, the people back home would be proud of them. The way that they played, they fought right till the end. They won the competition. Pound for pound, India's just a better team.
Simple as that. Yes, they did beat England. They finished top of their group, and dare I say, if they were outclassed only by South Africa and India, that might very well be 2 teams that
and also South Africa has got a bowling attack. They've got weapons in their bowling attack.
Could very well come down to that, but that is a wrap. So we have our semi-finalists. Finally, it's been a fun tournament, hasn't it? Went down till the very last game, the very last over of this virtual quarter-final, and India keep their hopes alive. They keep their campaign alive. They now set up a semi-final clash against England. We have seen this semi-final before, but this time it's on India's turf. Let's see how they respond at the Wankhede, which is a ground, of course, that they have good memories of by and large. Did go down in the semi-final 2016 in Mumbai to the West Indies. New Zealand, South Africa is when we see you next, Faf du Plessis. Looking forward to it. Couple of easy nights for you and the rest of the South African boys.
Yeah.
Hot favourites. Just need to turn up.
Look, I can tell you, as I've mentioned this before, when you play New Zealand in a knockout game, in a semi-final, you cannot take them lightly. They're a very good. We talk about the team that plays the basics really well. So don't take New Zealand, and South Africa will not take them lightly.
I'd like to think Mitchell Santner's not going to bowl Glenn Phillips in the 18th over again.
I hope he does.
You will join us, Mr. Kumble, for the India semi. Why don't you give us a prediction on whether on that day you will find a happy Faf du Plessis sitting next to you, or a slightly grumpy, if it is possible, Faf du Plessis?
I think it'll have its moments, I'm sure, during the game, but in the end, I think I'll certainly see a smile on Faf's face.
Okay.
You'll always see a smile on my face.
Good man, great man. Thank you very much to Faf du Plessis and the great Anil Kumble. We look forward to their company come the semi-finals of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup. We all get a bit of a breather tomorrow and the day after, but Wednesday, all eyes on the Eden Gardens again as New Zealand take on South Africa in semi-final number 1 in build-up just around the toss on ESPN Cricket for Timeout, powered by Garnier Men. See you then.
New Garnier Men Acno Fight Gentle Cleanser. ये है gentle on skin, tough on pimples.